Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gear and Beer. Today, my guest is the prime export of Ohio, Mr. Rob McNelley. Rob, what's
Hello.
up, man? Thank you for coming all the way out here and sitting through arduous traffic.
Oh, man.
The new Nashville.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's that new Nashville sound.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well,
Thanks for asking.
it is our honor and pleasure, and hopefully that we... Wait, I need to do that.
Oh, nice.
No, what a terrible... I just almost poured mine first like a total asshole. We'll dip our toes, and then we can cannonball later if necessary.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come around here and grab this.
Here I come.
Lyndon McCarty twisting and tweaking as he often does, not always. Sometimes he totally bails to go sit in airports in Montana.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Last week he was not here. He was stuck in travel hell.
Stuck in Denver getting my
really?
flight rescheduled 7 times.
Oh, yeah. Were you part of that whole Southwest debacle that was...
Yeah, same, man. If it was for going to and from Vegas for me.
Everybody else the rest of the band spent 15 hours in the air.
Yeah, I was nervous because my girlfriend and I just went away for the weekend, and we were on Southwest, and I saw those articles, coming up to the trip, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But everything went fine on our end, so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
They kind of had it ironed out by the time I was coming back, but then since the staff shortage wasn't an issue, the plane that we were supposed to fly out of Vegas on had a mechanical issue.
Yeah.
We had to go back to the gate and deplane. And then we had to wait for another plane, and then we missed our connecting flight, and then we had to get rerouted. So I had a nice 2 layover flight back from Vegas, got home about 6 hours later than I was supposed to.
Oh, man, yeah, it's never fun.
Yeah, well, the life we chose, I suppose.
Yeah.
You were just on vacation, and you got lucky, though. Vacation. You were presumably vacationing.
Yeah, I mean, just decided, needed a little break, needed to take a weekend.
Where'd you go, if you don't mind me asking?
Went to Colorado.
I love Colorado.
Yeah. My girlfriend absolutely loves Colorado, and we've been there a few times. And man, it's just I'm not a beach guy.
Same.
So a place like Colorado, or where you can go to like Boulder, some hippie town where you can just look at the mountains and walk
just
around,
breathe that air and smell pine trees. And
take some
hiking
hikes
and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was just exactly what I needed.
I can get by at the beach with cigars and shade.
Yeah.
But I sunburn
I'm Irish.
pretty easily. Yeah, I got a lot of Irish and Scottish.
Yeah.
So I'm flammable in direct sunlight.
I relate.
Cheers, bro.
Dave Walker, we call you.
Yeah, cheers. Hello.
London McCarty on Guitarty.
Yes, sir. That's good.
So you came from a session today.
Yeah.
How many tunes?
We just did 3 this morning.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is nice. Some of those demo sessions, everything's flying, 5 or 6 songs.
Sure.
That's a lot.
Well, yeah, it is a lot, but a good crew, I imagine, you're part of several of those, can crank that shit out and still make it sound pretty good.
Well, hopefully so far. I mean, yeah, it is like anything else. The more you do it, the more you just can navigate through it, you know, without thinking about it. It's not as taxing on you as when first time I had to do that, it was quite daunting.
Assuming you eventually find yourself want for inspiration in those kinds of moments, do you have something that you think about, or do you have an internal motivation for inspiration in those moments, or are you just a fucking fountain of badass?
Well,
it's because what I hear sounds like you're just a fountain of badass.
Okay, at some point I stopped thinking about it. That's what my secret weapon, if I have one, is, because it used to be when I first started, and I think this is a good idea for anybody. When you're listening to the song, you're standing there with your chart, and you start coming up with, they usually have a direction they'll tell you,
Sure.
and you're thinking along the lines of what they're telling you, trying to come up with as many ideas as possible, because when you get out there, if one doesn't work, you got to have another one and another one and another one.
Sure.
And that was exhausting to me.
Yeah.
So kind of I started finding that I work best when I'm up against the wall, and so the walk from the control room to your chair is the first time I'm probably trying to think of what guitar I'm going to use, what I'm going to play, what I might go for,
Sure.
And I still really don't arrive there fully. And it's kind of when things are getting counted off that I don't know what happens. It just, whatever I thought I wanted to do is usually something in that neighborhood just comes out. And it's all about, for me, getting relaxed.
Sure.
Really.
I was about to say, that's probably something way easier to execute when not stressed about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, what do I hear? I mean, it's just like improvising a solo, just like improvising anything. It's like at a certain point, getting out of your own way is in everyone's best interest. At least that's been my experience, and I've seen other people have that same experience.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Because you don't really, or I don't really think about that. I'm always I feel like my brain is like super overactive, so I'm always like rethinking and overthinking, and maybe I just need to shut up in here.
I don't know. I just found that when I got comfortable enough to be more like that, better ideas came out of me, or the more of the right ideas.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, how many times have you heard something and you thought, what would I do on that? And then when you pick up the guitar and try and do that, you find out all the reasons why that doesn't work, because there's 4 other guys you're playing with that are doing something that's not going to.
They heard something totally different that's going to get in the way or otherwise.
Yeah. So
hinder.
and so it just became this. I don't know. It just kind of started to become a thing of just reacting to the situation in a I don't know, more of a Zen way, I guess. I mean,
that sounds like a pretty good approach for just about all of life situations.
Well,
just kind of try to relax.
I've learned a lot by doing this thing. It does bleed over into other life things.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I bet that's good for your overall quality of life.
Well, I think so. People around me probably have complaints.
They always will, no matter what you do.
That's true. I mean,
somebody will be pissed about it. If I've learned anything, and
what we put people through by being in relationships with us, by having this job, it's extremely hard.
That's true.
They're all saints. Anybody that's with
no doubt
dating a musician, best friends with a musician, a child of a musician, any of it, a dog of a musician, you are all saints.
You are. and
if you stick with it.
And
if you don't, you're just bitch ass, whatever.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, chump.
Yeah.
A bunch of chumps. But at a certain point, and I don't really have this issue with my girlfriend, but people look at it as like, oh, you're just upstairs playing guitar.
Right.
Like, well, yes, face value, I'm upstairs playing guitar, but if I'm learning a song, or I'm writing a song, or I'm flying somebody a track, or I'm just working on my own creative output, like, even if it's not for money, it is still work. It is still the craft, and they, I just feel like people look at it like, if you're not in Ocean Way or at Bridgestone, that you're not working. You're just having fun. And it's like, no, bitch, that shit is work.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And yeah, I mean, it's that weird thing of like you can be in sessions or a gig all day, and then the first thing you do when you get home is pick up another guitar and play something, because oftentimes we're not playing music that
it's not self-fulfilling. It's well, I guess it can be. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, no. There are definitely times where you're not playing music that is your taste of what you like, and you're just So in a lot of days, all you did all day long was just play diamond. There's a lot of music out there that does not require expert musicianship and virtuosity.
Sure.
I do that all the time when I get home from a gig.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
I have something I have to say, or even to just myself, or
I
enjoyment.
just
yeah. I mean, it's like the first thing it's very important to me to have something cool to listen to on the drive home. And then, because that's totally different than what I've been doing all day or whatever.
I like that on the way to and from gigs.
Yeah.
Whether it's listening to a podcast or just like listening to Steely Dan on the way to a downtown gig. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I find inspiration outside of the genre of what we typically are doing in Nashville,
Right.
And I mean, I just don't, I mean, if you eat it, if you work at McDonald's, you don't go home and eat McDonald's. I mean, if I'm listening to pop country music all day or playing it, like I did that. Like I don't even probably listen to many of the records that I end up on because, well, I was there. I heard it more than anybody.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we ran it a million times. I played that part. I slaved over all aspects of that music already. And it's nice to like maybe go listen and see what they kept that you did or anything like that, or just learn from what you did maybe. But,
hearing what other people like about what you
but and it's not that a lot of it I get inspired by while I'm there and all of that.
Playing with good players, to me, it doesn't matter if we're playing Happy Birthday. I can have so much fun playing Happy Birthday with a bunch of other people who are as serious about playing Happy Birthday as I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like playing the dog shit out of Happy Birthday real quick.
Yeah.
Like that's fun to me. Whatever maligned song you can come up with. I'd rather play the worst music with great players than the best music with people who don't.
All day long.
Not even bad players, just indifferent.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to sit in windows and smoke cigarettes instead of play the gig.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a
Oh, is that an inside joke?
Yeah, he was talking about some gig he played the other day.
Okay.
We're not going to openly shit talk this person, but that was a thing.
Yeah,
we're not going to openly, but we are going to, without mentioning a name, say that don't be a douche.
Yeah.
But man, I know what you mean. Like I think a lot of times when I get home from a gig, I try and be positive about every gig, and hopefully there's great players on the gig. But like, any gig that you go to is like, regardless of the quality of the gig, there's always something that you can be working on, right? Like a Broadway gig is a paid transcription project.
Yeah.
Where you're learning the parts of some of the greatest players in the industry, or whatever. But then also when you get home, like I might work on playing over changes, like jazz or like,
Changes by David Bowie.
I might practice.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Full circle here.
Changes.
Not a bad idea. It's great.
Or practice bass or whatever. You know? Like it's cool it makes me feel better to like still want to play guitar when I get home. You know what I mean?
Or like, and I'm happy to hear that somebody like you like listens to music on the way home.
Oh yeah.
From a full docket of sessions. And
absolutely.
People give me, I've talked to people before that can't believe that I would dare listen to music on the way home.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't ever even listen to music anymore. It's like, well, then you might want to consider doing something else.
I can't not do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
I like it.
Yeah, I know. I do too. And I mean, and I also do there's a lot of, I think.
If you're fatigued or something, that's one thing.
Yeah, if you're a drummer and you've been bashing away all day, maybe you need some quiet. And I get that. And the car might be the only chance you're going to get because you go home and there's kids or whatever is waiting for you.
Sure.
Man, kind of on this same line, I actually had a question for you. So, like, as a primarily a session player, do you feel like that it's helpful to have a like deep well of musical knowledge? Like you were saying that like you know, a lot of times you guys are listening through to like a work tape, let's say, at the top of a demo session or whatever, and the producer's like, I want to go for this thing. Like obviously it's probably pretty helpful to have like at least some sort of musical reference for whatever that producer is talking about. Do you make it a point to like have a deep well of that, or like is it just kind of something that you acquired along the way?
Both. One thing about that is that, you know, I mean, I was playing clubs in the 80s. I'm a lot older than people think I am. And
that's a great skill.
Right. So back then there wasn't a lot of guitar in popular music. If you were in a cover band, like what I mean,
the DX7 is brand new.
Yeah, you know, a lot of
synth-pop.
and so a lot of that isn't, you know, I didn't do much of that kind of music, but it was in the air everywhere, and I remember back then making fun of all that kind of music, like just I'm talking about like super top 40 pop music from the 80s.
Sure.
Back then I didn't like it at all. I was a young guitar player. I just wanted to hear guitar players and hear music that was maybe more based around guitar oriented music, not shredders, but like Beatles and all your classic stuff from days gone by even then. And then what happened was when I started playing sessions, I realized pretty quickly that all the stuff that I didn't really listen to for enjoyment, just would hear being places, a lot of those kind of references came around. The most shocking references for what we want this to sound like today.
It's like fashion, right?
Might be stuff that I was like, yeah, like fashion. I would never wear parachute pants. Well, guess what? I'm in a movie now. I got to wear fucking parachute pants. And I can't say no. It's not, you know, the thing about this job is that you aren't in a band. It's not your record. It's somebody else's. Their picture is on the front. Their name is in big letters. Yours is in very little letters.
Yeah, you're executing someone else's vision.
Yeah, and it's very fulfilling to do that once you can get past musical hang-ups, because it's not your job to say, I don't think that's cool. Your job is to try and figure out how to give them that in a new and fresh way that hopefully you can put some personality behind and do it. But you know, back to your what is more your original question. You do have to have a deep well, and it is both things that I've listened to just a ton of music before I ever moved to Nashville or started thinking about doing sessions or anything like that. But there again, we can't know everything, so references come up all the time, stuff that you aren't as familiar with, and now thankfully they can just hop on a computer and pull up Spotify and play you 20 seconds of the song, and then you get the vibe of what that is.
So in that moment, you're just kind of unafraid to be like, I'm not really familiar with that. Can we check it out?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I find that on a lot of sessions, there's a lot of us that aren't familiar sometimes with like some indie band that
I was about to say new songwriters that are like just have very narrow focus in what they listen to, and they're trying to, you know, you know that Midlake record from '97.
Right. You're right.
You know, they had that one organ sound, or you know, or whatever. And it's just like, who? I mean, I know who that is, but that's an obscure band that I would bet 1 out of 10 people knows who they are.
Yeah,
and I could totally see that where all the cats in the session are like, you know, listening to whatever.
Yeah,
and it's not anything like whatever that songwriter was listening to.
Yeah.
Those are very different, like, headspaces of listening. And I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be, because I enjoy writing, I do plenty of writing of that kind of music as well. Yeah. But then I also write instrumental, like, jazz shit for myself.
Yeah.
And and everything in between. So I've always, like, my whole thing is always to be whoever is on the other end of that phone asking me, can you, I'm always wanting to be like, yes.
Yeah.
From a, like, stylistic versatility standpoint.
Yeah.
Somebody needs me to play straight ahead bass, I want to be able to say yes. Somebody needs me to play grindcore guitar,
Yeah.
I want to be able to say yes. If somebody needs me to come and play upbeats on a mandolin, I want to be able to say, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And that lends itself well to my personality, which is not too much of one thing, but some of all the things.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's I'm still trying to figure out if that's a gift or a curse, but it goes both ways. So.
I think it's a gift. I think having all that stuff you can draw from is invaluable. It's how you have to be.
I can't see how it would be a negative thing, even if it's not actively making me better. I can't see how it could possibly take away from me.
No.
And I personally just the more things that you're open to listening to from like a musical standpoint, it's just like growing the frontier that you have left to explore.
Yeah.
Like opening a new door, and behind that door is so much,
Yeah.
like, well, I can't think of an example, but just seeking out new music. That's something that I do weekly, if not daily.
Yeah. I do the same. And at least on sessions, the same references tend to start coming up. When you hear something that you've never heard before, you can guarantee that later in that week somebody else is going to reference that band or something else. I notice that, like even, I mean, I've gotten turned on to a lot of really cool music that I wouldn't have listened to otherwise.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
And I kind of also I do seek out like indie bands.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, years ago when the first car I bought that had XM radio or whatever that came with it, I found that station, XMU. I don't know if you guys know about that station, but
it's been so long since I listened.
I've seen it in like a rental car before.
Well, exactly. I mean, I just started flipping through and tried to find stuff that I wouldn't listen to, and that was a station I landed on, and I discovered something at the time that the bands I was listening to on there, a year later, they were all getting referenced by Nashville songwriters. And before Mumford & Son was like a big deal, I was listening to him for a year before that, and Tame Impala, same way. All these bands
that's
Dawes and all these really cool underground things, when they were truly a little more underground, I was already hip to them, so it was kind of cool when to hear these
and you just
writers.
Stumbled upon it, flapping through. Well, I don't know what the word is I'm trying to use. Flipping through stations, flopping through stations, flapping through stations,
flogging through.
Welcome back to Gear and Beer.
I don't know. It was just a lucky accident, But something told me when I was, I actually liked a lot of these things, that I was hearing, and from these people I didn't know, and apparently all the Nashville writers were listening to all that stuff too.
I think it feels cool to like be somebody who is getting older but doesn't stop finding new stuff. Like there's so many people who get older and they just quit appreciating new music. It's kind of a hard thing to do because sometimes at first,
there's a whole gaggle of downtown dudes that like
this?
Don't want to hear any music that was made after 1995. And it's just I get it, man. The 90s were badass, but it's 25 years later.
I know.
There's
a lot of cool stuff that's still happening.
Yeah, but also, like, why did Miles Davis last so long?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because he got a lead bass player in the 80s.
It's not like I don't like the things I liked when I was 14 now. Yeah. I just like more stuff.
Yeah.
I will still wear out Stone Temple Pilots for about 3 to 5 weeks every year. That's like one of my like coming of age bands.
Yeah.
Love everything they've ever recorded, and it never gets old.
Yeah.
I still wear it out. Again, like a yearly basis, I'll be like, I need to go back there and listen to all that shit. And I listen, I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I go listen to Paul Abdul or whatever stupid shit I come up with.
Yeah.
Deer and beer. And I'm back.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah. Hello and welcome.
Nice of you to join us.
So we have nice of me to join us. We have Lyndon's Basement that we played through earlier, or you played through earlier, and it sounded really good. And you brought your dad's old 65 that just had such a woody sound. If you would maybe pick that up and play it for us a little bit.
Yeah.
And this Lyndon's Basement, for listeners and viewers alike, has been completely redone and gone through by episode 4 guest Mr. Justin Butler. Lyndon, you want to go ahead and just quickly run through what he did as far as changing channel 1 to the Tweed circuit?
Sure. So the main thing is that he essentially changed the specs back to the original blackface specs. So this is a 67, 68, somewhere in there. And then so a common mod would be to put the bass side on sort of a Marshall plexi thing, but he said that he prefers a Tweed. So the specs on the bass side are Tweed. The deep switch in the up position on the bass side is a mid boost, and then the bright switch on the normal side is just the regular bright switch.
Okay.
So that's in the down position right now, and then the Tweed side, the deep switch is down as well.
Okay, well, let's start here, and then I'll move over to that other channel.
Yeah, we're in the normal side right now.
Okay.
And what's that cab setting?
Cab setting is on it's just like a twin 210, or maybe hold on, let me check.
For the twin, it ain't 210s.
Yeah, 212, my bad.
I just said ain't, like my grandpa would. It ain't 210s. One time in eighth grade, my grandpa was a bluegrass musician, and he would print out chord sheets and lyric sheets for people and he had a jam. Anyway, we were over there using his copy machine to copy a Metallica song out of Guitar Player magazine or something to give people. We were trying to put this song together. And he comes home and he comes in there and he's helping us, and we're copying Ain't My Bitch off of I think it's the Load record. And he goes, Ain't My Bitch. Ain't that a hell of a song? And so me and my buddies to this day will still say that to each other every now and then. Ain't My Bitch. Ain't that a hell of a song? Anyway, I digress.
Do we want to change cabinets, or do we want to keep?
I don't. I thought that the tone that he had for the little jam session earlier was fantastic.
And it's Sim is a 57 and a 121 on here. So
copy.
So it's completely dry. I don't have anything on the pedal board on.
Actually, that's not true. The light speed is on.
Well, son of a bitch. Okay. Now.
And cut to. No.
So that's the middle pickup, Yeah. This Strat is it is a little more woody, especially on the neck.
That's cool. That sounds
it's
so
just
good.
And then the bridge pickup on this is just a strong bridge pickup,
A lot of punch to it.
Yeah, I mean, I never wired the tone control to the bridge pickup like so many people do, and I do on all my other Strats. But this one,
there's a lot of punch on everything on here. That middle pickup has a lot of punch.
Yeah, it's just a great. I didn't know it was a great Strat because it was the only guitar I had for so long.
Wow. Until
I started
playing Strats.
And trying to buy another one as a backup to this, and all of them, usually paled in comparison.
Hard to match,
in a lot of ways. But yeah, I mean, it's just got a lot of the quintessential Strat things. That's the number 2 position.
It's such a clear, out of phase sound. Sometimes they get muddy, and that's super clear.
Exactly.
Super clear.
Yeah. It's just a really well balanced guitar all the way. The pickups are great.
Looks like you've had it refretted.
It's been through a couple refrets since I've had it, and I couldn't tell you what kind of frets these are. They're just.
Did you have it done here?
Yeah. Man, Jeff Sen does most of my work.
Okay.
I mean, I like Glazer too, and I like I've had a couple fret jobs done by Greg Voros. Did something for me recently, and Andy Jellison from over there at Gruen's.
Okay.
I don't think Andy's still at Gruen's, but they do great work. I mean, one thing about Nashville is a lot of good repair guys here, but
I'm just so scared to have somebody mess with that guitar, and I know that's stupid, but
yeah,
what if something sucks afterwards?
Well, I've had that experience for sure, but Jeff Sen and I are such good friends that we've played so many of each other's guitars that I don't even have to say anything to him. He knows how all my guitars should feel for me.
Right.
And that's invaluable when you find somebody like that.
Totally.
You can just totally drop it off, trust them. You
don't have to give them a list of things that you want. You just give them the guitar and it comes back and it's right.
And things that weren't bothering me or that I didn't think about when I get a new guitar or something like that.
So clear, man.
I know.
It's incredible.
This Strat is. That is what it really excels at. It's just you barely touch the thing and there's tone coming off of it. But yeah, I don't know. Great guitar repair guys are invaluable.
No doubt. What did you just have the volume and stuff rolled back just then?
No.
Okay, that was wide open.
Wide open. I like to have my bridges floating. Do you do that?
Actually, no. My Strat bridge is not floating.
Okay. I never used to do that. Of course you got to adjust how you play. You can't just
rest your hand on the bridge.
But yeah.
My PRS is like that, and I play it often. Mm-hmm, it's a super hardy guitar.
Do you have three springs on the back?
Four.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I kind of came up. I
have 5.
Yeah. There you go.
I've usually only either seen 3 or 5.
Yeah, I don't know how I arrived at this. I don't know.
Hey, if it works.
It does work.
Yeah,
it's perfect for me. I don't know. Don't anybody else do it. No, but,
this has been copyrighted. You will get a letter from his lawyers.
I'm going to watermark that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went back to lighter string. I've always played heavier strings, and I tried over the pandemic just being bored and wanting to just experiment more. I started putting lighter strings on almost all my guitars. Everything except my Strats.
What do you mean by lighter?
Okay, 10s.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the lightest thing that I've had.
Were you playing 11s?
Well, I have anything 11s to 13s ranging on different guitars. I do have a couple guitars that I keep like flat wound 13 gauge. They just
it's standard tuning, or are they detuned?
I keep them in standard, but I do also tune them down a lot, or whatever.
Depending on whatever the session calls for.
Yeah.
Talking like a jazz box or something?
Well, like I have the, what they call the, I think it's the Silvertone 1446, the hollow body. They call it the Chris Isaac guitar a lot. That guitar to me only sounds good with 13s on it and flat wound strings. And it's a great rhythm guitar, but it also is a good lead guitar too. You can't go absolutely crazy on it with those strings, but it's easier to play than you'd think, and I don't know why.
Interesting.
Scale thing, or
it's probably. It probably is a scale thing, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just have some guitars that will defy gravity.
I've seen people put flats on those guitars because they like playing slide on it, and it cuts down on like fret noise.
Yeah, that's a cool benefit. That's a cool slide guitar because of that. But you know,
you play a lot of slide?
I do.
I love playing slide. I'm not very good at it, but I do it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
You know, I kind of for a few years, it felt like that's what everybody wanted me to do.
Really?
Yeah, I played on a song for Lady A years ago, and it was showcased the slide guitar a lot.
Yeah,
and so yeah, it seemed like everybody wanted the slide guitar, wanted me to play slide. You know, and
I presume we're talking about Need You Now.
Yeah. So that you know, that kind of forced me to play a lot more slide than I was. You know.
Well, how dare you be good at something?
Well, exactly. Well, there's a problem with that. You know, it's kind of like
pigeonhole you.
Yeah. You can every time you're in a room, you know, they want you to do that thing you did on that other hit song or something.
Hey, Rob, do your Lady A trick.
Well, yeah, exactly, or whatever, whatever it is they think, whatever it is they've heard of you before. You only get you kind of get the cartoon version of you. Is what what they're thinking about,
right?
You know,
they heard this one thing that stood out, and so that's the sound of Rob McNelley now.
Yeah.
It's this one slide track, not the smorgasbord of other different things that
you know. I mean, we're all pretty versatile. You know, you can't live in this town and make a living playing guitar if you don't know how to do a lot of things. Sure. But whatever breaks through to a lot of people, that's kind of like what you get known for. So hopefully,
that's why
you
I
work for
bass.
This guy thinks I'm a slide player. This guy thinks I'm the indie rock guy. This guy thinks I'm a chicken picker. You know, and you get enough of those people, and I don't care
got
what
Rob McNelley's schedule. That's what
exactly.
happens.
Hopefully that's what you're shooting for anyway. You know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that guitar sounds so good.
Thank you, man.
Let's do this.
Yeah, plug in the.
Try the other channel.
Side actually pretty close to I think what the normal side is.
So.
How's that on peaks?
I could either turn input volume down or you could turn that volume down. It's up to you.
I like how ragged it,
I like how it sounds.
jumps
I'm
up.
gonna turn it.
That sounds great. That's 6 and 4. You like it like that?
I like it. Well, I usually set it at 666.
Do you?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I usually
set
it at 6 and 4.
Yeah.
On that amp.
They're both set.
Play
that
for
way.
me one more time, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about where it was. I'm actually give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
That sounds great. That's one thing that I do notice about this aux is like sometimes if you either like pair it with a bad cabinet or certain like certain unpleasant crispies start coming through.
Yeah.
That has all the right color of crispies. Like I like the top
Cocoa Krispies.
Yeah, man.
Man, hand me that the Les Paul Special.
Absolutely.
We should hear a P90 through that.
Yeah, we should. After your special, you should play the 65 330.
It's
my best guitar.
This is a dream guitar for me.
Is it cool if I unplug this?
They made them actually, you know what?
Yep.
Well, yeah. After I did it.
It's fine.
We can edit any of that stuff out. It's more about your own ears.
I'm keeping this all in.
Look how fat these are, man.
Yeah.
This thing is just a chunk.
Yeah, this is another really good one.
The tuner's on if you want it, or I can turn it.
Oh yeah, I should probably see if I'm even in tune. Well, look.
Tune is relative.
So
man.
that's a drag about most the studios around here is how much the air conditioning kicks on in the middle of a take and sends everything sharp.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's every stage I've ever played.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like you
buy a guitar
have
that
to
stays in tune. Okay, cool. Turn all the air conditioning off, and also that doesn't work because then your guitar goes flat as it gets hotter. So do you want to go flat or do you want to go sharp?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can't even tell you how many great takes I've been in the middle of, and the guitar is just going a few cents sharp, and halfway through you got to stop and tune. And
How are we feeling about that overall volume?
Amazing. That
sounds good.
That sounds so good.
I'm gonna hit the little girl's room.
Do it.
yeah,
Dude, that sounds so good.
yeah, that's a good one.
That's just bridge, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's got some get up and go. Man.
Do you happen to remember what you played on a session with Marshall Altman for Dan Smalley? It's been probably 8 to 10 months ago. So
if I heard
sleeps.
the song, I could probably tell you. Oh man, I'd have to hear it. But
right on. Well, it was for 4. There, I think you did 4 or 5 tunes. It's great stuff.
Thank you. I love Dan, by the way.
Dan is great. Dan's an old friend. We played together back in Texas. I still play with him here. Depending on the show, depending on who's available, depends on what instrument I play for him. But I came in, I laid an acoustic track on one of those tunes, and Marshall's like, "Yeah, I need to get Rob back in here to play this one thing." And Dan goes, "Well, Robert's here now," and he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna call Rob."
Oh,
and I was like, "Why don't slightly change something by changing everything?
You're right.
Call the same guy back. Get the whatever. I'm sure there was notes as to what was used. And
yeah. Or footage or something. Yeah.
Totally. But the whole like that whole EP sounded, and I don't even know if they're gonna release it, but the whole thing had like a super like 80s kind of a police vibe to it. I thought
there was some of that. Okay. If you're talking about, I do remember that one song. It was to me. I remember it being pretty on top of some police stuff.
Very much.
And we rode with it. And I think that was a. Oh man. I'm feeling like that was this Gretsch Duojet that I have.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Maybe.
He told me when I was there, but I've since forgotten.
It could have been the combination of this Strat and that Gretsch. Because I just think if I were going to sound like what I kind of remember that sounding like, what police song was it similar to? Was it similar to Every Breath You Take?
Yeah, kind of. It was just that eighth note-y kind of a feel.
I bet it was these two guitars, the Strat and this Duojet that I have.
Right on.
Yeah.
Man, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Nope.
How? All right, cool. How do you keep all your guitars in tune on a session?
He was just saying that he doesn't because the air conditioner comes on.
Well, yeah, I hear that, but like, okay, you're talking Gretsch's. Obviously, like Bigsby is going to be sometimes a nightmare.
Yeah.
Any Gibson, the break angle of the neck.
Yeah.
I have Gibsons that I absolutely love that are amazing guitars that I can't take them on live gigs because of the amount that they go out of tune.
I would have to say, for me, the nut slots are always the culprit.
Yeah.
And
whether you put like the little nut lube or you rub some graphite in there or whatever you got to do.
Yep.
File it out a little bigger than it should be just so it doesn't get stuck.
Well, in having, that's one thing that I love about Jeff Sin. I mean, all the guys around here that really know that that are really great at cutting those nut slots perfectly. That's usually if I'm having a problem with a guitar, I just get it into to Jeff and or I've got files too at home. If it's just a little burr, I can get it out of there.
Yeah.
But Bill off the street can't take his bullet strapped to Jeff's end to get
exactly. Yeah, and yeah, true. And when I played gigs, I annoyed the shit out of half the artists I played with because every second I wasn't playing, I was tuning.
Same.
Yeah, dude.
Not necessarily because the guitar was that out. I can't
stand it.
And session players, we're tuning constantly.
Of course. I mean, obviously you have even between songs, but I'm talking I have a Les Paul special double cutaway. Yeah. And I mean, I can't, to save my life, get the thing to be in tune. Maybe it is the nut slot.
That's the first culprit most of the time.
Yeah, I would.
But I've done the pencil trick where you just kind of put graphite in the.
That works, but if the nut slots aren't cut the way they should be, that only gets you so far.
Yeah, it'll eventually stop working, or it'll work for a second, and then you'll have to reapplication as the graphite pulls out of either side. I mean, slowly. Having somebody build you the perfect nut is the deal.
Do you deal with Bigsby issues, or do you feel like if the nut is pretty properly maintained, then the Bigsby is not any kind of issue?
I gotta say, I've had great luck with Bigsby's. I mean, I've got a old 335, and I can carry it to the session with a Bigsby, and it'll be in tune.
Really?
By holding the, I mean,
I noticed on that 355 on the gig that I saw you play at 3rd and Lindsley, it was like you had no tuning issues.
No, I mean, if I did, I just played through it.
Bent out of the, yeah.
I mean, I figured it out, and that is some of it too. I mean, I it's not anything that I ever worked on, but there are times where I can tell something's one string is a little out, and we all get good at kind of bending that string just enough until we're not playing in that song or something, or there's a breakdown where we're not needed in the second verse or something. And then but I mean, like Jeff Beck can play just about any guitar that's out of tune, and it sounds like it's in tune. I've
always wondered about that for him.
He's got perfect pitch.
Oh, does he? Okay, that helps a little bit.
Yeah, in fact, when I was out with when I played with Seager, my guitar tech was Jeff Beck's guitar tech.
Oh, wow!
And so it was really cool to ask him all kinds of questions, and he was like, "Yeah, we're putting together a pedal board for Jeff Beck," and he came out, and there's all this stuff on it, because that's what he had on the last tour or whatever. And he's like, "Well, what's that?" And he goes, "That's a tuner, in case you need that." And he goes, "I got 2 tuners right here." That was his thing. Get that thing off there,
Waste of real estate. You are listening to the Gear and Beer Podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Want to take your home cooking to the next level? Need new recipe ideas or meal inspiration? Like, follow, and subscribe to Bobby Jam's Kitchen on YouTube and Instagram at Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Cook your food and eat it.
Yeah, man.
It's warm and punchy.
Ooh, it's hot.
That's also true.
Is that just dry?
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Hitting the front pretty hard. Sounds good. Compared to that, the special, it's dark.
Well, it makes sense, I guess. Hollow body, right?
Yeah, but when I played it, well, it's not that it sounds. I guess It just seems like it when I play, it's a little brighter. But often when I take the same something from somebody else, it's just brighter. I just have bright hands.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I had brighter hands. I love 330s and casinos as rhythm guitars, man. They're just so much fun, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, they just got that nice.
They just sit. The mid shape. It sits so well.
It's no wonder why the Beatles liked casinos. You know, they're just exciting.
You have so much clarity in the low end too.
Yeah. And they sustain just right.
Yeah, man.
You know, I mean, as long as you're not in front of the amp. You know, do you deal with feedback issues live with this?
Sometimes when I have, because I often stack that Pettyjohn and the Lightspeed together, and I will run into some.
I remember
issues.
when I sat in at Monte Cristo, it fed back a little bit on that Woolly Coats.
Yeah,
but I typically do not. I stopped playing it live because I was having that issue, and then I started playing with more reasonably volumed groups, and I've not had that problem.
That's good. I've got a 50s 225, which is a 2P90 with no center block guitar. And man, I mean, you know, it was a bummer. It records awesome, but
can't do it
playing
live.
next to a loud drummer. You're just asking for it. You know?
Man.
You know. And the thing is, feedback is so cool when it works for you.
But when you don't want it, and you're constantly having to cover up,
and it's some other weird note that's totally not in the key of the song,
half step off or something.
You're like, check me out, I'm badass, and then it just goes left on you. It's just like, not so badass.
Is that the mid boost?
That's the mid boost.
I love that,
man.
That is all amp breakup.
Cool
yeah. It's just rock and roll.
Dude, Justin knows what he's doing, man.
He does, man. And that, like...
Hey,
yeah.
I'm not typically... There are very few... Well, I guess that's the tweed circuit, though.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I was like, I don't usually like a really breaking up bassman, but that's... For the tweed, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like a complete
compression
saturation, and there's more compression, and it's not like clanky like they sometimes get, or at least like my Pro, the Twin get.
Yep.
I do like that Pro breaking up, but you can't. I can't take that amp out anywhere. It's so fucking loud.
I mean, that sounds killer.
That's a lot of clarity in that guitar, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's such a good guitar, man.
It's a great guitar, and
I love the neck on it.
For a couple of years, all I used it for was like jazz trio gigs, and I started playing it downtown and sessions. I take that back. I'll always use it on sessions. I would say it's usually either that guitar or this SG for me, and then Telly. I play my Nash most of the time, but everyone likes that guitar for a lot of different things. Hearing it now with your hands, it just doesn't sound like when I play it. So I'm gonna have to work on that. But
I don't know.
I like that you have a very distinct tone that's really nice.
Oh, you're sweet.
It's unique.
Man, yeah. You know, have you ever heard like Billy Gibbons just goofing off or
absolutely.
It's like, how does that guy do it? He sounds the same no matter what guitar or amp he's playing through, and it's like, always awesome.
That
That's
documentary that they play in, at the very beginning. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So the top of the documentary, they're using like what is clearly like new, quote unquote, vintage guitars or whatever, made by the same company.
Yeah.
Because him and Dusty are playing obviously like the same company's guitars. He just sounds like Billy.
I know. It's insane. He was writing with a writer that I did a demo for, and it was all Billy Gibbons songs with this writer, and he was telling me that he pulled up in a limo, you know, with a driver, who kept the car.
That is some old school shit.
That is some old school shit. And the guy sat in the driveway from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon with the car running the whole time, just ready for
just
whenever
in case
Billy.
Mr. Gibbons was ready to leave.
happens.
And he shows up and he's like, "Oh, you need help carrying a guitar or anything in? You bring it." And he goes, "I don't have anything." And he's like, "Oh, well," and this guy's a drummer, and he's like, okay. And he went into his daughter's room and got like this Squire Strat, and a little solid state Champ practice amp, that she had. And when I was listening to these work tapes, it sounded like some of the most badass Billy Gibbons tone. I was like, what is he playing through? And he goes, it's crazy. He didn't even touch the dial. He didn't even touch the amp.
He just plugged it in.
He just started playing, and that sound came out. And it's like, my daughter's like a singer-songwriter playing chords on a Strat, And when Billy Gibbons picked up her guitar and played it, it was a rock and roll machine. It's like, okay, well, that's proof,
Sometimes you just got it, I guess.
That's what this guy was supposed to do,
That's wild.
Well, you certainly don't have to continue to hold that guitar.
Dude,
I just wanted to
this
hear
is
it.
badass. I love the neck. What year is that?
65.
65?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's early 65.
When I got it, this was like somebody melted the finish. It was like bubbly and weird. I don't know. I have no idea what happened.
It's got the 64 type of feeling 335 neck.
Well, so was it 67 or whatever that they started setting the neck out further, like 335? So these are what I would call affordable vintage guitars.
No, absolutely.
Because one in 67 will cost you twice what the 65 costs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm hooked.
Dude, I would play that all day long over a 67 because of that narrow nut width, too. That later 60s.
I've not actually ever played a 67. I played 65, I played a 61, and 62, but I don't think I've ever played the neck out version. So they're smaller more narrow at the nut.
Yeah, somewhere in 65, Gibson changed their nut width, and I have a couple of if the neck has some meat back there behind it, it's not so bad. But if it's a skinny neck and that, man, I have a hard time making a D chord on it. It's just, you got to think about it.
But you know what? Speaking of skinny necks, I'd love to get your thoughts on.
So what's this?
This is a 71.
71.
Pickups date 69.
Okay.
There's treble bleeds in there, just like every other guitar of mine except for that Strat.
Replacement bridge.
Yes, a replacement bridge that came off of a 60-something 335 that belongs to.
So this isn't booze.
No, this is
trade
mine.
Back?
Yeah, I know. Okay. We never traded. I just had his.
You had his. Okay.
Yeah, he still has his.
I might have lost the cable. There we go.
Oh, there it is. I was like, I don't know.
Rob, do you want a beer, by the way?
No, man, I'm good. Bourbon is doing me right.
Miller?
Yep,
cool.
Miller does.
Dude.
I'm gonna wait for McNelley to play. And
what you got? Can you give me that screen back?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got time.
Man, I love.
Yeah,
that
but we don't have battery.
I know. That's why I was looking at it. I may go ahead and change that. You guys do your thing.
Man, that bridge pickup is bad.
I feel like that's as close to a Telly as any humbucker I've ever had, and it's from a versatility standpoint.
Yeah, it's got that tight low end thing that Tellys have. It's not woofy.
But that neck is funky to me. It feels so different from every other guitar.
Yeah, it does. It does. But
it doesn't bother me.
It's not
once
bad.
I get used to it.
Yes.
I'm going to turn that mid boost off. I still like it.
I like it a lot, man. Yeah.
That sounds very woody when you play with that touch. chord I wanted to hear. That's where I would go every time.
I love that chord, man.
13 flat 9.
Yeah, man, what a beautiful sound.
This guitar is really touch sensitive too.
It is.
It's so cool, man.
It's and like that neck being so thin. I mean, you got a half step forward and backwards, easy bending, pulling the neck. I mean, easy.
Yeah, man, it's really cool.
My dad found that in a clothing thrift store as a display piece. He's like,
Wow.
how much for that? Or he asked if if it was for sale, and they're like, yeah, I guess. And he was like, how much you want for it? And they said, how much you give me? Yeah, he said, $600. And they said, okay.
Dude, steal.
I mean, those guitars are not very valuable. I looked it up, and it's 71 to 73. Looks like that, with this stupid plastic bullshit on there, and
Right.
and the Les Paul pick guard for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find those all day for like $1,400. The pickups are extremely balanced.
They're really cool. It's cool that you got those pickups with it. That I can't imagine those are original. I mean, if they're 69s, this is a 71, you said?
Yeah, who knows, man? Gibson is such an inconsistent company.
That's true. They could have been sitting around, but if they are changed pickups, somebody did you a favor, probably.
No doubt. Whatever. So I had my buddy Booze. He was asking me if this was Booze. I had my buddy Booze 65 SG, which looks and plays 7,000 times better than that guitar. Can't touch it.
Yeah.
Tonally.
You know, there's something about sometimes guitars just that maybe don't play perfectly. They have a thing.
Sure.
And amps are that way too. How many? I mean, there's been a lot of times where I've bought an amp that just sounds perfect, on the edge of not being great.
Totally.
It has some personality thing.
Well, the great thing about session work is that you can find, or doing the session thing is, you have more use for stuff like that. But I can't go do a Broadway gig or like a top 40 gig with a guitar that just does a thing. I was just like, I gotta fucking leave this thing at home as much as I would.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you can't. But
I see. To me, this guitar is kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
because it does a thing, but I can also do a lot of things, and it does play great. It takes me a minute to get used to it because it's very different neck wise from every other guitar I own.
It's got a different kind of tension on it too.
Also true, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, if I sounded like that every time, I'd be playing more gigs.
I don't know about that.
I'm just kidding. I don't know how you could possibly play more gigs than I'm fucking playing, but
yeah.
I mean, you can, but I don't.
I think you're doing all right.
I don't recommend it. Well, shit. What kind of? We got time here. What's going on?
we got at least 10 minutes.
But
15 maybe. More like 14.
Rob, I got a few extremely dumb questions to ask you.
Go for it. I love dumb questions.
Well, that's the only kind that you've answered so far, so why change anything, right? If it's working, it's working.
Are we rolling right now?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yes,
I wanted to say something about your Sly Stone T-shirt.
Oh.
I love that T-shirt.
I love this T-shirt. It's new.
I just met this I met this engineer a few years ago that was cleaning up all of the vault, the Sly Stone vault.
Really? And
preparing it for a box set that they were putting out.
Interesting.
So he had everything.
That sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, and he told me something really cool about Sly Stone that he discovered through the process. They would play you're talking about the album Fresh. You know that song Que Sera?
Yeah.
Okay,
Que
right.
Sera.
slow song, like one of the slowest songs out there, and
he sings the shit out of that song too.
He does, and but in between all the takes of a song like that, he would make the band play a barn burner gospel groove for about a minute. It'd be like, they'd end that take, and then they'd go right into
a shout, essentially.
1-4, whatever, and do that, and then stop, and then he would immediately start counting in that song again, and it was kind of like it was all throughout the catalog.
Interesting.
Like and if it was a really fast song, maybe they'd play like a super slow groove,
just
like
taking
the opposite,
the brain from side to side.
I guess just and I think that I can only his theory, and I think he's probably right, is that he was just scrubbing everybody's brain so that each take was a new take. You weren't.
That's pretty cool.
You're yanking you out of the headspace so that the next time you play
don't get that
this
fatigue.
or you just maybe come at it a different way, or something. Something interesting happens that wouldn't have happened if you just stayed in the vein. There's value in all of it, I guess. But I thought that was interesting.
I think that's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's I love, first of all, little tidbits like that.
Yeah, me too.
And I mean, to my brain, that makes total sense.
Yeah,
that's essentially a wax on, wax off application of listening to Steely Dan on the way home from a country gig.
Yeah, exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I assume that's why he was doing it. I mean, he could have been just all hopped up on anything too.
That's
so,
also,
who knows?
That was a wild time back then.
Yeah.
Deer and beer.
It was one that my buddy just straight up ordered.
Yeah.
And we had a 2 King of Clones through here a couple of weeks before that, and didn't sound nearly as good as this one. And I mean, they sounded good, but there's something about this one, like both sides of it and the blending them. I've never owned a real one, and I never will, because I am not paying that for a pedal. But I'll pay that for an instrument. But as far as pedals are concerned, it's too easy to go around something that expensive. For the most part, not always.
No, I know what you mean. I are
we rolling, Lyndon?
Yes, sir. We are rolling.
Yeah. I dig the King of Tone, though, but I did notice I got one of them that had like a high gain side to it, and that's probably great for some styles of music and what people that like more gain or whatever. But I always come back to just the original recipe. It's kind of like when the OCDs came out and they started having all these versions. I bought one right when they came out, and then I liked it so much at the time I bought another one, and man, the first version was so good. I mean, I don't know why he felt the need to change them. Maybe because people on the internet were complaining or saying this or that.
Maybe it was like availability of components or something.
It could be anything, whatever it was. I'm sure he has a good reason. But man, so many things are right in the first version, and then when they start dicking with stuff, it's like
start trying to cheap out on. A lot of time, my experience is when stuff changes, it's because they're either trying to maximize profit and lower their bottom line, or because that particular component, for whatever reason, becomes unsourceable.
Yeah. Or,
dude, I would say the exception to the rule on that is Petty John. If you look at, are you familiar with those pedals?
I've never owned one, but I know them.
That's the only one I've ever owned.
Yeah, that sounded good, by the way.
I'm on their mailing list, and like every time they do something different or have a new line of something, it's like it's not because it might be like functionality, like they maybe wanted to make something smaller so people could justify having it on their board in terms of footprint. But the majority of the time, it's like we wanted to put this new component in there that gives it, or this is the 5 pedal run that we're doing for this like particular mod on this pedal, because we found some blank shells in the warehouse or whatever.
Yeah,
they do some really cool shit like that. But I don't know of any other company that does it like that.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Great story. Tell it again. Well, after that rousing tale, that leads me to this podcast's questions segment, and we're just going to ask a few of these, and then we're going to get to the important shit, which is tacos downstairs.
Killer.
So I can't wait to ask you this because you're one of the few guests that I think we met a couple of times before, but I mean, we've certainly never like sat and talked like we're doing now.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I literally have no idea what your answer is going to be to any of these
All right, good. Me
retarded
either.
questions. But so my first one is Metallica or Megadeth?
Probably Metallica.
Sure. That's most people's answer.
I mean, you know, I'm just more familiar with it.
I'm basically only asking that question to find my fellow Megadeth heads.
Oh, are you Megadeth? Is that your...
No, I like both.
Yeah.
But everyone always answers Metallica, and it's not so cut and dried for me.
Yeah.
Because from a guitar playing standpoint, Megadeth is a 10 out of 10 compared to Metallica, which I would call like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Great stuff in Metallica.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in Metallica that I couldn't play as a teenager.
Yeah, right.
There was a lot of Megadeth stuff that I did not have the facility for.
Yeah.
The early days with Chris Poland playing guitar and the heyday with Marty Friedman playing guitar. The guys like Glenn Drover and since then. Man, in 2005, they made Dave Mustaine made a record that was supposed to be a solo record and ended up being a Megadeth record, and it's like Vinnie Colaiuta playing drums.
Did Dan Huff play on that at all?
Probably.
He worked with Megadeth.
That was probably the one.
Yeah.
It was like I was trying to remember who the bass player was. It's just like that level. A plus.
Yeah.
Kind of dudes playing on a Megadeth record. And you know what? If you know that it's Vinny, when you listen to the drums, you hear little flashes of Vinny. But for the most part, it just sounds like it's supposed to sound.
He's in character.
It just sounds like it's supposed to sound. So, you know, that's
badass.
I love stuff like that where it's like pretty easy to hear Vinny most of the time when he's playing, doing Sting or whatever. But
are we talking The System Has Failed or United Abominations?
System Has Failed.
Okay. 2004.
I probably said Kick the Chair. That's my favorite tune off that record. But yeah, The System Has Failed.
Just looking up the all music credits.
Awesome. See if you can find out who played bass on that. Anyway, let me know.
I'll let you know, yeah.
So my next question is jazz or metal?
Oh, well, I listen to jazz, so probably jazz.
Me too. Have you found that you obviously have not, but have you heard about people who are taboo about jazz here? Because when I first moved, people were like, "Man, don't let anybody know you play jazz."
Really?
I was like, "What? Why?"
Wow, that's interesting. I suppose I can. I guess I can understand that in some ways.
I'm told that's like an East Nashville kind of viewpoint. Whatever the fuck that means.
I don't even care. You know, I never cared. I mean, it's like, I like what I like.
I guess I'm just in for a bad run because I like jazz.
I know. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you know.
Are you guys ready for these facts?
Oh yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So Jimmy Lee Sloas.
Jimmy Lee Sloas.
Wow. Okay, I just worked with him this morning. I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
Dude, get ready for this. Musician, background vocals, Chris Rodriguez.
Really?
Yeah. I believe it.
I
Isn't that
can't
wild?
believe he didn't tell me that.
Dude, that is amazing.
He does so many BGV sessions.
I'm not seeing.
That guy's badass.
I'm not seeing Dan Huff on here.
Okay.
Who's playing guitar on it? Dave?
Yeah, Dave on pretty much everything.
I mean, he's a absolutely fucking murdering guitar player.
I mean, to be fair, Chris Rodriguez is credited as musician, so he could have played some guitar. Also, Justice Mustaine on spoken word and
that's his daughter.
Musician.
Okay. Yeah.
So
she's an artist. She has something that's going. Did you play? Have you played on her stuff?
No, but well, I say I haven't, but I was at Sound Emporium one time working on something, and Dave Mustaine showed up. And if it could have been his daughter, and I just didn't put that together, but he showed up at the end of the session and wanted to hear everything. So maybe it was. I don't know.
It probably was. I mean,
I don't know why he would want to come to a Nashville session and hang out if it wasn't.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe he's just a fan.
Maybe so. Maybe,
He's just he's here. Heard Rob McNelley was going to be there. He's like, you know what? I'm going to
hear
listen
some
to that
jazz
son of a
guitar, closet jazz guitar player.
Man, Chris Rodriguez on background vocals on a Megadeth record.
That's amazing.
Is it a different Chris Rodriguez? I don't know.
I mean,
No, man,
it's
it's
only the
gotta be-
two of the
gotta
most
be-
common
gotta be
names in
him.
the history of the world.
That's amazing.
I don't know that there's too many Chris Rodriguez's in the Nashville session scene.
Right,
No.
right.
But there's a shit ton of Chris Rodriguez's in this world.
Yeah. But none that can sing like him.
Definitely none that can sing like him. It's like you hear him talk and then you hear him sing and you're like, he just keeps hitting stuff that you wouldn't imagine was
Dude,
anywhere
I'm
near
not
his
hip. I
range.
gotta
I
hear
know.
this.
I know. And he's amazing.
He sang
And deep.
he sang some at rehearsal. He sang Black Dog, the Zeppelin
Yeah.
tune.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That shit is up there.
It's high.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full voice. It's
A
incredibly
chick
high.
sang it on the gig, but he
Right.
sang it at rehearsal.
Oh, really? He was
That's
hitting it
cool.
like original key and everything. Wow.
He's amazing.
ridiculous.
Damn.
I think I probably know the answer to this next question, but tacos or pizza?
That is tough, man. Oh, fuck. Taco pizzas.
You know what? That's the best answer that anyone's given.
Great. That's a good-
That's the thing that exists where I come from.
I could do it.
Cece's Pizza used to have taco pizza.
Oh, they had dessert.
Have you ever been to a Cece's Pizza? Have you ever
no.
heard of Cece's?
Yeah, I've heard of
Okay.
Cece's. Yeah. I've never been there. Is it
I
good?
haven't been there in about 25 years,
Yeah.
but I used to go as a child. a lot.
Yeah.
Taco pizza. That's
Taco
the best
pizza.
answer. That's the right. Live or session?
God,
What a terrible choice to have to make. But
Well, I think I like playing sessions more.
well, you certainly seem to do that primarily.
Yeah. I mean, every time that I do go play a live gig, I'm always glad that I did it because it was so much fun. But the thing that about being in the studio is you're creating all of it.
That's true.
And I like doing that. That draws me in more, as opposed to I love playing live gigs, but you're learning the stuff.
True.
There's very little leeway. You can't just take it anywhere you want to take it,
Sure.
unless you are playing a jazz gig, which I'm not a good enough jazz guitar guy to
Well, that's
play a
probably
jazz
not
gig.
true because I do jazz guitar gigs. I can promise you that you're at least as good as I am.
I don't know. Wes Montgomery. I'm Wes Montgomery Ward. That's me.
Yeah. Well, I'm Eddie Montgomery Ward.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
When you play live, do you use compression?
Not typically.
Good question.
But if I was in a early Dire Straits tribute band, I would have it on all the time.
Just buy a Boss compression pedal and just
Yeah.
turn it on squash.
Yeah, no, I but I don't play those kind of gigs. I think it's useful for what I mean. Shit, I
Do
mean,
you find yourself using it in sessions?
yeah, I use it more lately.
Really?
Because
Do you have something on your board, or you bring in like a rack unit?
I bring it in. I always have something on the side. It's always in. I have a bag of like a few things that I'll plug in.
Sure.
But I've been using it more because people are talking about '90s country and sort of sounds that have compression on guitar, like pop
100%.
guitar sounds. Direct Nile Rodgers kind of thing or
rhythm
whatever.
parts, yeah.
And man, I mean, when I started out playing live, when I discovered a compressor, I had it on all the time. I mean, when I was in my early 20s.
Like top of the chain.
Yes.
Type thing? Yeah.
Plug first thing into that. I always played through some kind of blackface amp, usually a super reverb,
Yeah.
and the compression kind of smooths it out a little bit or makes it nice. But then I got away from that and I don't know. A lot of the music that I've played live since, I mean, with Delbert McClinton, I didn't even have a pedal board,
Oh, wow.
For real? You just like plug it straight into an amp?
I plugged into a Distortion pedal that sat on top of the amp, and when he pointed me to solo, if I was going to play slide, I would hit that, but otherwise it was just, I might turn the amp up a little bit more and play.
That's amazing.
And that was that
interesting
gig.
way to be able to do it.
It was awesome. It was because of Flight 8s, and especially after 9/11, because they would wreck your pedal board. TSA would wreck your pedal board.
Dude, they still do sometimes.
I mean, yeah, and I was like, fuck this. I don't need a pedal board. I'm playing with Delbert McClinton. I need a tuner, and I need some kind of overdrive for like slide sometimes. And so I just set it on top of the amp or just jack the volume up when he pointed at me.
Right.
And then with Bob Seager, you don't need. His music is not compressed guitar.
Right.
It's rock, kind of simple, an
Open as
overdrive
hell, yeah.
and maybe an echo here and there, and wah pedal for Come to Papa, and you can do the gig.
By God, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean,
Volume pedal or knob?
Another good question. In the studio, volume pedal. Live, volume knob.
Interesting. Another answer that I think I identified the most with.
Yeah.
Although I mostly only use volume pedal in the studio because it's not there are fewer constraints for space in that setting.
Yeah.
Or setup time or whatever logistics that are involved with gear. That's where my problem is. Real estate on a pedal board, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite pedal, speaking of pedal boards?
A favorite pedal?
Yeah. Whether it's just a particular one pedal that you have.
I come back to the Ibanez Distortion. I mean, I don't use it for everything, but it's definitely a home base thing.
Sure.
That I
when looking for that sound, you go there first.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
This is okay. Now we're getting to these are the last. Let me count these. 1, 2. The last 5 questions. Okay. And then we're gonna have tacos, and these are not. None of these are either or like they have been. So the first one is for live playing. Do you have a favorite venue?
Oh man, yeah. Well, plenty of things are coming to mind.
It's a tough question.
As far as here in town, I like the original basement. The small one.
Yeah.
I like that. That everything sounds good to me.
The Sub
in there.
Grammy's basement.
Yeah.
The basement.
Right.
Actual basement.
Yeah. And but man, I got to say one of the most religious moments that I ever had on stage was the first time I played Madison Square Garden, because that's where Song Remains the Same comes from, and a lot of that, and I had moments. It was with Bob Seager, but I was playing a Les Paul, and there were moments where all of a sudden I was getting some of the sounds that you hear Jimmy Page get out of a Les Paul. That I'm like, how the fuck does he get that sound out of a Les Paul? It's so clear and that nice, and I think there's something to that room,
the space,
maybe, because I started hearing some of that, and it was like, holy shit. I'm standing on stage and hearing I sound a little bit more like Jimmy Page today than I ever have in my life, and it's got to be this room, or it's psychosomatic. I don't know, and that room is not an incredible sounding room.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people complain about it.
It's
if
not
it makes
great.
You feel something, then
but it's great for guitars. I don't know. It just felt like I mean, obviously, if the mix is right, the rhyming is pretty awesome. I don't know, and I like Third and Lindsley. Just because I've played a lot of gigs there over the years, and it's like putting on a comfortable shoe.
Yeah. Third and Lindsley is a nice place to play.
Yeah, it actually
always
is.
feels pretty good. It's you get the definition without the deafening volume.
Yeah, right.
That's,
yeah.
a problem that I find constantly. So this is probably the hardest question, so we'll go ahead and do this now. And the question is, name your 3 desert island records. But I will preface and say that for me, I mean that I'm gonna give you a different answer every day.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah, that's absolutely true.
So what does today feel like?
Okay. Well, probably the Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed. That's always good.
I'm sorry, guys. I thought it stopped tracking. Never mind, it didn't. It just cut back.
Okay,
Yeah.
good talk.
Cut the shit out.
Okay. Probably, Let It Bleed. No, Sticky Fingers. I'm going to go with Sticky Fingers. And then I'm going to go with Abbey Road. That's just been in my life the whole damn time. And then, it's tough because from here it's either Miles Davis Kind of Blue or Muddy Waters Folk Singer. I mean, they're just classic records. There's if we're talking about you only get 3, I know might be boring choices because but they've stood the test of time for a reason.
No one has ever chosen those before.
Yeah.
That makes them fresh.
Yeah, good.
Those are fresh choices.
Good.
Rob McNelley.
Good.
Welcome back to Fresh Choices with Rob McNelley.
Yeah, right. Fresh choices. That's good. That's
what we're going to call this segment from now on. Okay. We're assuming you're stranded on an island.
okay.
You have the guitar, the instrument, the question reads instrument that you want.
Yeah.
You're doing a gig.
Yeah.
You have an amp.
So there are other people stranded on this island?
Yeah, you're stranded on this gig. You're stranded on Gig Island.
Okay.
And we're not even Session Island, like Gig Island.
Okay.
And you have one instrument, and you have whatever instrument it is that you want, and you have some sort of amp, and we don't know what that is. You get one other piece of desert island gear. If you had to bring something to apply to whatever is coming musically, what do you bring? I think I know the answer.
Are you talking about amp guitar and the other thing? Or?
I'm saying you the guitar is given, the amp is given.
So that's already there.
We're calling it backline. It's probably a reissued PCB Deluxe.
Okay, all right.
And you can bring an Echoplex. You can bring a GE7. You can bring. If you wanted, I will even allow that if you wanted to make that piece of gear an amp, you can. But you could also bring a whatever, an LA2A.
Well, if the amp has reverb, then I'm bringing a Distortion.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's desert island, so it's probably an outdoor gig, which reverb doesn't really help you outdoors as much.
That's true. If you can even hear it, you're a better man than me.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
reverb outside is you can hear it or it sounds good.
Yeah.
If you can hear it, it's too much and it doesn't sound good.
Right. I know. So yeah, probably my story. I guess
I accept that answer, and that's what I thought you would say. I've kind of like asked that question a few ways.
Yeah.
And the first few times I was like, desert island piece of gear, and it's like, well, you can't just have one piece of gear because that doesn't work. You just have a guitar and you're doing a gig. Okay, well, great.
Right.
Now you're playing on a dreadnought. So
right.
or whatever. So then I had to hone it, and that's where we ended up. So the last two questions. This one is self-reflective, and it is, what is the professional accomplishment that you're most proud of?
Oh, shit. Just making a living playing guitar.
Hell yeah.
I mean, honestly.
That's a fantastic
When I
answer.
first moved to town, somebody said that to me.
When was that?
95.
Okay, right.
And I had, when you move to town, you think all these things you want to do. But somebody just kind of listening to me spin out about all these plans that I thought I was, and they were just like, no, dude, you just want to make a living playing guitar. That is all you need to think about. Don't, confuse yourself and get lost and going down all these rabbit holes of, just make a living playing a guitar.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And that really stuck with me, and it hit me. It was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. That's all I'm trying to do. And that's it right there. I mean, all these things that happen along the way that are great, they fade fast. I mean, the next thing that you're doing
Bills
erases
still come
it.
due.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you have a lot of those things because they keep you working and keep you in people's minds. But
There's no mountaintop though.
they don't do a fucking thing for you. I mean, before I moved here, I thought, I remember sitting on my couch thinking, man, if I ever play the Tonight Show, I'll know I've made it. Well, I played the Tonight Show for the first time within a couple years of moving here, and it was like it didn't do a damn thing for me. It didn't mean anything. It was just, it ended up being another gig, a long day. That's what it was.
Another long day, decent paycheck, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool to my family and all these people that didn't think.
I bet you could probably go watch that recording now and be like, all right, that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I tried to stay awake in the hotel room to watch it that night and I ended up falling asleep. I didn't even get to see myself on the Tonight Show the first time. And, and it just kind of, so all these things, you think they're going to mean something. The first time I play the Ryman,
Dude,
that's going to be awesome.
That thing where you said...
doesn't mean shit.
It means something to your family. Dude, that resonates with me so hard. Because the funny thing is, like...
I secured a place in my grandmother's will.
I'm not trying to, like, talk shit on the family or anything, but they're none of my family is musicians.
Yeah.
So they don't understand.
That's what they think.
Their thought of success is like arenas.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And like,
just like
my thought of
saying
success
earlier,
is like supporting a family.
Absolutely.
I think
man.
they kind of get it now because we've had a lot of conversation about it, and I'm not trying to say my family's not supportive because they very much are.
There's just lack of knowledge about business.
They don't understand.
They're not in it.
They don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
But I think through
No one does.
having that as my family, I kind of came to the same conclusion that like the success part is like this is your life. You wake up every day and your job is to play music and you pay all your bills, you pay your house note, whatever it is.
Sometimes it's at a studio, man. Sometimes it's at a bar on Broadway, sometimes it's on a stage in an arena in Indonesia, and everything in between. Playing music.
Yeah, that's it. I want to go back to the question about the gear, Desert Island gear. I just thought of what I would ask for.
We have an amendment.
An amendment would be I would ask for a sitar. Because then I could get to the gig. I'd be like, fuck, I don't know how to play sitar. I guess I can't do the gig. I'm going to hang out on the island.
You find me at the Tiki Bar.
Oh shit!
All right, so we're about to run out of time on this camera thing.
It's more like
all right, we're gonna quickly. Rob McNelley.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the show Hot Ones?
No.
Okay. Well, then this will mean nothing to you. But, you know what? Scratch that. So I'm going to do it because I alluded to it earlier. This last question is I'm calling the King's Court, and the question is Albert, BB, or Freddie?
Oh man, I love.
That's a horrible choice to have to make, but I'm asking.
Albert Einstein is pretty cool.
Yeah,
man. Albert, Freddie, or BB, the King. Oh man, BB King pre-65.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rob McNelley picks BB King pre-65. That is an answer we've not had before. Yeah. And man.
Bro,
thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
And doing this, and I can't get enough Robs on this fucking thing. I keep trying. You're the second, and for that we thank you. I thank you from coming from Berry Hill, doing a session, to dicking around at my house in Hendersonville.
Dude. It's been a blast.
What took you like 2 hours to get here, probably?
Yeah. I mean, it took a while.
Thanks, Nashville.
Don't move to Nashville.
Thanks, yeah.
Or if you do, build an interstate on your way.
Yeah, if you do, fly here and walk.
Yeah, that's true.
right.
Lyndon McCarty, Twistin' and Tweaking. Our guest, Rob McNelley, the pride of Ohio. Thank you again. Make sure and subscribe on YouTube. Follow on any of the podcast sites. And make sure you follow us on Instagram. Blah, 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 blah. See you next time on another episode of Gear and Beer. Thank you for listening to the Gear and Beer podcast. Make sure and subscribe and turn on notifications for our channels. And if you haven't already, follow our Instagram and YouTube channels. We truly appreciate your support and ask that you please tell anyone you know whom you think might be interested in our podcast about Gear and Beer to help us grow and continue bringing in great guests from around the industry and beyond. Thanks again, and until the next episode.